Today on Divorce Court. It's great when a couple has a support system of family and friends, but not everybody is that lucky. Today, we're gonna meet a couple who came to Los Angeles with stars in their eyes and dreams of making it big in Hollywood, only to have those dreams dashed by the high cost of living. Now, they're living in their car and they can't call home because home was destroyed by Hurricane Harvey. Let's see if I can't help this couple out.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Michelle and Donnell Phillips. The two of you have been together for 2.5 years, but you are struggling mightily for a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with you. I mean, you've been through some extraordinary times, but I'm going to start with Ms. Luna. Why don't you tell me what's going on and why you're here in Divorce Court today?
First off, I want to say we moved from Houston. We moved all the way from Houston, Texas, which is over 1,400 miles away. We decided to come out here to chase our dreams in the music industry. But getting here, we quickly learned that cost of living is not as cheap as Texas. So for the time being, we've been living in our car, just making it work. And before we left, I was kind of skeptical, but this man here is like literally the love of my life. I've never loved anyone as much as I loved him, but it's just a few sketchy things before we left that I'm just not.
Well, I understand you now believe that he cheated on you even before you got to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So before we left, I was actually going through his phone. I have full access to his phone. We share a phone, actually. So I was going through his pictures, and I actually saw two different girls. One girl it was two pictures of this girl. She had on no top, so she was completely topless, just a thong in one picture. And then another picture she had on a completely different thong, which led me to believe that she may have spent the night and something could have possibly happened. But that was one girl that I saw on his phone. So another girl, she was actually on his balcony and she was dancing, twerking actually. And he was actually zooming in all up and down her legs, all into her booty, all of that. And if you're in a relationship with me, why are you recording another girl twerking?
Okay. So, thong girl and twerking girl, Mr. Phillips. Give me your version of those events.
Well, Your Honor, both of those times, nothing sexual but happened between those females. I mean, to be honest, they took me on dates. They paid for my food. So it was more of, you know, just using somebody. And I have my own suspicions about her and her ex-boyfriend.
You said you were using them for their money, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you kind of romanced them for cash?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Would you have a problem if she was romancing dudes for cash? Next time, before you do it next time, think of it that way.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
tell me what she's doing.
Well, there was a time, you know, that I accused her a few times about going to see her ex, just, you know, off of suspicion. And, you know, I kind of felt bad about constantly accusing her. And there was a time where, you know, she needed her brakes done. And I said, well, babe, you know, I got the money, here you go. She wouldn't take the money at all. She said, I'll take care of it. I got this. So that same day, she got into a car accident. And I ran all the way from the apartment to the car, and she was upset. And I can understand that, but it was something more than just that car accident. Mm-hmm. So I was digging and digging, and I was thinking, and that day, she sent me a picture, and it had two guys next to her car. I was like, oh, okay, you know, didn't think of it. So I said, let me take things into my own hands and, you know, just reach out to the ex and see, you know, what's really going on. So when I reached out to the ex, he said, yeah, I've been hanging with Michelle, and he sent me a picture in her bedroom.
Ms. Luna, did that occur?
It did. It did.
How did the ex get in your bedroom to take a picture?
He was actually taking me to and from work because at that time he was out of town.
To work.
So.
Yeah, to and from work. Doesn't involve the bedroom.
Right. Which I completely understand, but he went up for like a cup of water and I laid down and he took the picture. So
I laid down?
I laid down. Like, he didn't lay down with me or anything like that. It wasn't like anything sexual. It was really just like, I need you to take me to and from work, and that's it. We're not getting back together. We're not even friends. We're right now.
If you were concerned that he wanted to get back together, why lay down on the bed and let him take a picture of you?
I mean, I wasn't really thinking at that point. I mean, I could take completely responsibility of that.
Right.
I really wasn't thinking at that point. I wasn't trying to go too much into that talk or that conversation with him. So I guess that's where that came in, but I take full responsibility of that.
Yeah, because sometimes anybody do something,
Right.
Now that I think about it, I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about you coming to Los Angeles, because once you got here, things didn't go well.
Right.
Talk to me about that.
So when we came here, we came across a film school that essentially will put us in the direction where we wanted to be. When we moved here, we had no family, we had no friends, we had no connections, we had nothing. We literally moved out here on a dream, and a dream that will work. But when we came here and we enrolled in that film school, it was like, you know what? If all else fails, okay, we're in school, we can do a few deliveries, which is what we were doing to make income. Just doing delivery services, period, just to make income. But that would go directly back towards gas, food, daily necessities, things that we needed to survive. So talk came across doing a regular job, working retail, things like that. But I felt we didn't move to California to work retail. We didn't move 1,400 miles to work a dead-end job that's just we're gonna be a cashier in. So,
Mr. Phillips, you have something to say about that?
I mean, I did tell her that, it would probably be smart for her to get a 9-to-5 job, because I do a lot of freelance work. And I feel like with my freelance work, I don't have time, to clock in at 9 and clock out at 5, because I might have a shoot at 5 and another shoot at 10. So I feel like me making that income that way could support both of our dreams if she had the 9-to-5 to, cover other expenses.
Why didn't you want to do that?
I was totally with working a regular job. That totally wasn't the case. We both agreed on working regular jobs because we weren't getting as much freelance opportunities as we had liked.
Yeah.
So we had decided to start working those regular jobs. I started to apply for those jobs. Regular retail jobs, they will also send you a confirmation that you've applied for those jobs. Your login credentials, all of that. We are logged into our email on the same phone. So when he sees my confirmations, I should see his. I don't see any of that.
So he was, no, I got what happened. And I also understand that when that didn't work out for you, you two found a very creative way to address your financial issues, and I want to talk about that.
So we met this one girl, and she really didn't have a good vibe about her. So when I texted her, she was like, he came over, and he was like very aggressive, and he reached over, he grabbed me, and we had sex.
Mr. Phillips, would you like to address that? So, Ms. Luna, tell me what you decided to do in order to address your financial issues.
So I got a little creative, as you said. And what I brought up was a polyamorous relationship. All three of us would share the responsibility, and I didn't want to bring someone in that wasn't aware of our situation and basically want to build with us from the ground up, because that's where we're starting. So we've met one girl. She was.
Side note, you're bisexual, so you were open to this.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay with
I think that's important.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So we met this one girl, and she really didn't have a good vibe about her. We have personality inside of personality, so if you're kind of just sitting in the back, just like there, it's kind of awkward. Yeah. From that point on, we both made an agreement that we were no longer going to talk to her. We were no longer going to have any type of conversation, anything. No contact with her. And the next day, he texts me that he's on his way to the store. The store is like literally 5 minutes away from the girl that we said we were no longer gonna talk to house. So I'm like, okay. About 45 minutes pass, and none of my messages are going through. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing? He finally texts me back, and he said that he was hanging out with that girl. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. And at that point, he was like, yeah, she tried to come on to me. She tried to do this and she tried to do that. And I'm like, all right, if she started it, she shouldn't have a problem telling me that. So when I text her, she was like, okay, well, he came over and he was like very aggressive and he reached over, he grabbed me and we had sex. I was like, really? Okay. How could you possibly do this?
Mr. Phillips, would you like to address that?
I made a mistake that I probably regret for the rest of my life. And It was
You
just...
seem to have a problem withstanding any kind of temptation. Any woman gets around, I mean, it just boom, straight to, you see a woman and your pants fall off.
It was just, I feel like I did a lot that I could have changed to not let it get to that point. And like I said, I was too excited. And it shouldn't have got to that point at all.
But at this point, I feel like he doesn't really understand what that did to me, because we moved 1,400 miles away from Houston. Like, literally, I can't just go back to my mom and be like, look, well, he hurt me.
I got you. And you think that she's too insecure for a polyamorous relationship, and that the fault lies on her end. Why don't you explain why you feel that way?
After this incident happened, I literally deleted that whole idea out of her head. I said, let's stop this. Let's delete all of the texts that we have from, the other females. Let's just focus on us. And she said, no, we can do it, but it has to be done a certain way. And I felt like her insecurities caused her to grow jealousy within certain situations. Even before I've ever done anything, it was always, a jealousy derived from somewhere, and I didn't understand it. Yeah. So for her to, say, oh, let's add a third person, it was like, okay, but are you sure? And
but and then you said, are you sure? And then you said, okay, fine. And then her worst fears were confirmed because you had sex with that person on their own. So clearly she was right to be insecure, because you can't play by the rules even when the rules are grossly in your favor.
When he went to go have sex with her, he literally spent money that we earned together off of deliveries on condoms for her. So that really hurts, because it's just like, why would you take money that we earned together?
Mr. Phillips, do you care to respond in a manner that won't make me lose my mind? So, Ms. Luna, tell me about your current living situation.
So right now we're living out of our car, and like I said, when we made that decision to come here, we were really taken back at how expensive it really is and how realistic it really was to achieve actually finding somewhere to live. We don't have a safety net. Like, we can't go back home if we wanted to. Houston was hit by Hurricane Harvey. So everything as we know it is destroyed by water. My family and his family staying in shelters.
Wow.
So we don't have no one that's like, hey, can you send me 20 bucks?
You can't call home and say I need some help, because they need help.
Exactly. So we can't really try to take away from what they really need. Even if it was, we really didn't have much before we came. So when we moved here, we didn't know anyone. So we have each other. We had to make each other, like, we had each other to survive. Like I said, we've been doing deliveries and everything like that. So when he went to go have sex with her, he literally spent money that we earned together off of deliveries on condoms for her. So that really hurts, because it's just like, why would you take money that we earned together?
Trying to eat, living out of a car, trying to eat, and you gonna take it? Wow. Mr. Phillips, do you care to respond in a manner that won't make me lose my mind?
I do. Like she said, when we moved out here, we knew everything. We knew it was expensive. We knew it was gonna be hard to, find somewhere to stay. We knew all that, but like she said, we had each other, and recently it was something that made me really realize, the things that I was doing, like you said, derived these insecurities. And we had a car accident recently. And
in the car that you were living in?
Our home, our moneymaker, our everything.
So now you can't even make deliveries.
Can't even make deliveries. And to know that, we have nothing to go back to, we have to be for each other. When
you leave here today, where are you going?
Luckily, by the grace of God, we have a classmate that's allowing us to stay there, and we don't know how long that's gonna last. We know it's not gonna last long. So
is it a male or a female?
A male.
Thank God. Because you are not a man to be left with temptation. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I mean, that really made me realize, that I feel like she shouldn't have insecurities, for the simple fact that I love this girl. She's beautiful, she's smart, she has a soul like no other,
And yet you still sleep around on her. That's why she's insecure. You can't keep saying you oughtn't be insecure because I love you, because your love for her is not enough to make you remain faithful. It's not even enough to make sure you'll make sure that you have sex with somebody and condoms to do it with before you make sure she's fed. So don't tell me she ought not be insecure. She ought to be insecure, okay? Get that off your mind, because that's just wrong. You have to behave in a manner that makes a woman feel secure, just not speak it, you know? Above the belt, you're fine. Below the belt, you batting zero. Don't get that twisted. I got a couple of things I want to say to you that I hope will help you out, because I'm worried about you. Dreams are important. Going for what you want is necessary for survival of the spirit. It really is. But to do so without a good game plan puts you where you are. And you keep talking about dreams and goals when sometimes, 365 days of a regular gig, I mean, you got 70, 80 years to go. You know what I mean? 365 days of a regular gig is not giving up on your dreams. It's just being a practical person. And sometimes you have to delay for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to save up money to be able to pursue your dreams, because you have to do so in a manner that makes sense. Are you with me with that? You know what I mean? Don't just dream. Right. My father was an attorney. He went to law school, but he worked in a linoleum factory until his law practice could get up. He never dreamed to be in a linoleum factory, but he had to delay what he wanted, even though he had the schooling for it. Because bad people to feed. Mm-hmm. You got to feed yourself. Mr. Phillips, I'm going to ask you to grow up. You have a problem with denying yourself immediate gratification. And until you can deny yourself immediate gratification, you're never going to be a man in whom she can trust and secure. You keep talking all of this magnificent, I love it, all this, and all these amorphous concepts about your deep love for her and all that kind of stuff, but women need practical things. You know what I mean? We need to believe and know we got a place to stay. We got to know if you run into a woman, the next thing you know, y'all won't be in bed together. And she has no reason to believe that. And so you have to make sure that you hold yourself accountable for what you do.
I want to change that.
Huh?
I want to change that.
Don't want to change it. Do it. Everybody wants it. Everybody working on something. All this kind of stuff. Make that a goal. Like, for instance, if you don't have any money, but you wouldn't walk down the street and take a hammer and knock a old lady on her head and take a purse, right? That's an absolute bar that you would not cross. Sleeping with another woman should be an absolute bar that you do not cross. Same thing, right? So next time you see a woman you're attracted to her, think about a little old lady on the ground with a knot on her head. And maybe that'll help you get through the moment without doing the wrong thing. I wish you both the best of luck. This matter is adjourned.
Right now, it's just gonna take time for us to get past the infidelities, the deleting messages, cheating, and everything like that.
I have to do a lot to change. I know it's gonna be hard for her to trust me, but I have to make a change. I have to make it work.